Well, good morning or good afternoon, depending on what time of day you're watching this. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're watching last week, you will have seen me start on a layout build for a substantial model railroad in my workshop. This week I'm going to continue with the project and cover another week's worth of progress. I didn't get a huge number of hours out there this past week because I've been working on other jobs as well, but I did get a worthwhile amount done. So without further ado, let's head out to the workshop and get busy. Well, it is now Monday morning. I haven't been out here at all over the weekend, and on Friday I left it in a mess. I was too tired to clear up, but I've done a bit of cleaning up this morning. Don't look at the floor yet, there's no point in sweeping that up while I'm still making a mess. I will take care of that later. But I sorted out the bench tops just so I had a clear area to work on. I've done a full-size print of the second yard ladder. Had to do that the hard way with small sheets of paper because there was a misunderstanding with the guy who normally provides the full-size prints, and it didn't get ordered in time. But it's only about 60 sheets, 30 each side, so it wasn't too onerous. And the time it took me to do it was probably less expensive than buying the print in the first place. I will make sure I get the rest of the layout ordered in good time so we don't have a repeat, but no problem with the small ones. There are several tasks I want to get accomplished today. I want to get the bench work in around this corner where that piece of plywood is just sitting temporarily. It comes out on the bridge over the top of the yard lead here, and get the road bed connected up at the back. It looks like a Y, or it will look like a Y, but actually it isn't. The two halves of the helix are actually two separate unconnected helixes with opposite polarity. And I want to get the first half lap completely finished. As I mentioned on Friday, I've got missing supports down there, and I need to get it properly levelled. I say levelled, graded, because with it being a slight oval with these short straights, the outside needs shimming in certain places. Otherwise I will end up with the grade changing when it gets to the straight, and I can't allow that. I will show you how I take care of that issue when I get to it. And then I want to get all the track marked out and the safety fences installed, get all the carpentry done for the bottom level, and then I will clean up the mess and get the track laying tools out, and then lay the track on everything that I've built before I continue building the helix. But that will be a task for a different day. Today I just want to get all the woodwork done. Anyway, it's going to be a busy day, so I'm just going to turn the camera off and get to work. I'll check in with you again later. When I'm back out in the workshop again, and the bit of sub-road bed that ran across the back, the bit that's now missing, was a little bit on the high side. And since the risers had already been glued in place, I had to take it out and thin it down a little bit. So let me show you how I managed that. Here is that piece of sub-road bed. If I'd had a dado set for the table saw, that would have been the easiest way of doing it. But I didn't have that, so instead I put my handheld circular saw on a very shallow cut. As you can see, the blade barely protrudes below the bottom plate. And I cut a pair of grooves and finished it off with a chisel. That allows us to go back on just a little bit lower. And actually I got a little bit more out than I needed to, so I'm going to put some thin shims in, and then it'll be perfect. So let me go away, finish that, I'll be right back. So I've now reinstalled it with some thin shims, and it is now perfect. I didn't need quite as many shims as I thought I did, and the whole process only took a few minutes. I probably could have left it with the hump, and the trains I'm sure would have run perfectly fine, but it would always have annoyed me. And doing it professionally, it's especially important to get it as good as I possibly can. The next thing I want to do is to get all the track accurately located on the sub-road bed that I've built so far. And there's a really easy way of doing that. Where I've got the full-size templates, I will cut the paper and then mark through it where I've cut, and that will give me accurate location there. But on the areas that I don't have the templates for, there is another trick for doing that. It makes it really simple. Okay, with the camera now mounted on the tripod, I have both hands to work. I've made this tool, which is an offcut that actually came from the piece that I cut out of the middle, and a straight piece. And you can see I've filed notches where I need to draw lines. Now note that these are not the track center lines. I started off by working out where the track center lines needed to go, and then I moved the lines 3/4 of an inch further in. I have strips of roadbed that are 1.5 inches wide, and these need to be centered out of the track. So the offset is nominally 3/4 of an inch, but actually I've gone 7/8 because I want to be slightly towards the inside on the curve so that I can have an offset where I go onto the straight. I can then offset it 1/4 of an inch to allow for an easement. And I'm still basically in the middle of the roadbed. So all I do now is hold this against the helix with one hand, my pencil in the groove, and there are my 4 guidelines that will tell me where to put the inside of the roadbed. And I did the lines on the inside because that's the side I will work from, and I just put it in where I can just about still see the line and I know it's in the right place. So I'm just going to finish those and then get back to work. I'll check in with you again later. When it comes to installing roadbed for the staging yards, I'm not going to do individual pieces under each track. I'm just going to put full sheets down. The sheets I have here are approximately 2 feet by 4, and the staging yards are more than 2 feet wide, so I'm going to have to splice it. I worked out that by starting at the front edge, the back sheet comes to midway on this track here. So I'll start at the front and then just put a sliver in the back. Then I'll need to cut a second sheet for the curved approach. And then all the offcuts I will just slice up into strips like I use for individual tracks. Because it really doesn't have to be in 4-foot lengths. I can use up short pieces as well. So let me get on with that and I'll be right back. Well, that is one side done. The other side still to go. Haven't started that one yet. For the large areas I'm using 3M spray adhesive. But for the narrow strips, I find that the wood glue is better. I don't have to worry about overspray. Both products work fine. It's just a case of using whatever is easiest in each situation. Well, both yard ladders now have the roadbed installed. Where I come to benchwork joints, such as like this one here, I just go straight across them. I've just got to remember to slice it with a knife before I lay the track. And it may look like I'm wasting a lot of this roadbed material, but I'm not. All of this will get used up on the thin strips that I use for the individual pieces of track. And that's what I'm going to do next. I have that little bit to fill in there, and then I have the double track Y, although as we've said before it's not a true Y, it just looks like one. And then the base of the helix. I'll probably come up about as far as the glue can, and then stop there for now. So let me get on with that and I will be right back. Well, that is the end of that week's progress. The next segment that I shot started with a new week, so I'm going to cut the video off here. It seems like a good place to end it. I hope you enjoyed this installment and found it useful, and I'll see you again next week. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.